Hello my fellow readers. In this video I'm going to talk about Disobey the Duke If You Dare. This is another one of Manta's romantasy, I guess, titles that is available on their webcomic app, but they also had a published version of it. Now, I was waiting to talk about this until I got to at least volume 2 because I wanted more of the story, but volume 2 has yet to be published. This came out, I think, last year, but earlier in the year, if I'm remembering correctly. And I scooped this up pretty quickly. It was around the time that I also discovered, like, Under the Oak Tree, but it was released before Under the Oak Tree. There's even an ad in it for Under the Oak Tree. But I don't know what's going on with it, like, publication-wise. The rest of the story is available through Manta, so it's not like they're waiting for the story to be told. I don't know what's going on. If sales weren't good enough, I'm a little bit disappointed because I really want to finish this published, but I haven't seen anything yet. So I might end up having to buy the digital version to finish the story, but that would make me sad because this is gorgeous. I don't know if you can see, like, the iridescent, what you call that, iridescent highlights to it, but it's beautiful. I love the artwork. Disobey the Duke If You Dare is the story of Lily, who at the beginning, she has just suffered the loss of her second husband. And instead of getting time to grieve her husband, her family is immediately set to marry her off to the Duke. And she is kind of like, well, wait a minute, my husband, like, just died. And it's like, oh, do you want your brothers and sisters, I don't know if it was brothers and sisters, your siblings, let's just say siblings, do you want your siblings taken care of, or, you know, are you going to make them suffer as well? And Lily is very devoted to the people that she loves, so she chooses to go ahead and get married to the Duke. She does not know what the Duke looks like, and throughout most of this volume, she still does not know what the Duke looks like. So they're married, and what seems to be a common trope for most of these, I don't know, but she's riding in a carriage to the Duke's estate, and there's a monster attack, and the Duke saves her, and because I think she's, like, right outside of his property, if I remember correctly, and they ask if he's the Duke, and he does not respond. So she's like, okay, I guess maybe you're not the Duke. And then she goes to the mansion and still hasn't officially met the Duke. And I don't know. It's their wedding night and she's made to be blindfolded. I guess wedding night. Huh? Whatever. I would say it's their marital night. And yeah, she's blindfolded and isn't allowed to see him. They have romantic times, but not necessarily full romantic times, if what she says is true. And she thinks how gentle and kind he is, but she doesn't understand why he won't let her see him. Meanwhile, I should say, his name is Vlad. Meanwhile, he is talking to his priest, and as with most of these, the priest is more of like their counselor, you know, giving recommendations, and he's like, why won't you let her see you? And then we, of course, discover that he has some trauma where he sees himself as hideous and like a monster. So that, as a volume 1, that's not, you know, told why or what happened to him, but there must have been some form of trauma where he literally thinks he's a monster and that she can't love him because of how hideous he is. So he keeps trying to hide what he looks like. Meanwhile, he looks fine to us. I mean, that's what he looks like. That's what we see. So most of it is Lily, like, trying to see her husband and Vlad trying to hide who he is from her. Meanwhile, he's very drawn to her. He's falling in love with her, and it's the same for her. We do uncover different plots to go against them. I don't remember. There was like a handmaid that went with Lily from the house, and I can't remember if she was poisoning her or just trying to keep her from having kids. Regardless, she gets discovered because Lily gets very sick, gets dismissed from the house, and we think now things will build up. And again, this isn't very long, so this is a lot that's happening in one volume. That was a lot to say all at once. And then we end up meeting, I think, one of her siblings, so her brother, and then a friend of the family, Tristan, who I think, like, grew up with them. And we discover with Tristan's backstory, he kind of has a thing for Lily, and he's been trying to build up his status because he wasn't from nobility or rich enough for her. So he's being overlooked, but he thinks he can save Lily from this marriage and marry her, whatever. So for the end of this one, we discover Tristan's been up to something, and so Lily is going to confront him. And then it's going on from there. But the main part, the main meat and potatoes of this is just Lily trying to discover who Vlad is. And she essentially does, even though that's also funny because she recognizes his voice, right? So she knows that he is this guy that's the commander that saved her from the monster attack because his voice is the same voice. And so she's like trying to get him to just admit it. And like he keeps hesitating. She's like, no, you should be brave. And then I think they finally, like, I don't think, I mean, it shows it. I know. They finally come to an understanding about who each other are. So I guess the main thing will be her discovering why it is that he sees himself as this hideous monster. And of course their love deepening. I can imagine that will also happen with like trying to root out what's happening with Tristan. She's still going to have to deal with her like father. I think it's her father that's the jerk. But her father in general and what's going on with him. It's very twisted. You know how these go. They're all very similar. I get it. But, you know, it's enjoyable. And like I said, I'm disappointed because I don't have volume 2. And I really would like to read it all in the same format, but I guess maybe I'll just have to read on Manta. I don't know. I was looking everywhere. I'm like, is there any release information? Is there any cancellation of publication information? I didn't see any. I could just have not seen the right place. Like every time I tried to even look on Manta, it would just lead me to the web comic. So I don't know. Either way, I enjoyed volume 1 and I would like to finish the story. And it's not a super long story either. I think it was finished with just maybe 2 seasons of the comic. You know how they do like, I think like 30 some odd chapters. So I think maybe it was done. Anyway, it's done. That's all I know. It is over. It's officially done. So what's going on, Manta? I really like your editions of your comics that are in print. They're beautiful. I will keep recommending them. Under the Oak Tree is gorgeous, and Disobey the Duke If You Dare is really pretty. This is floppier, though, so I don't know. Maybe I'll wait just a little bit longer, and then if I can't, I will finish it, I guess, on the app. That is it for this video. Until next time, bye.